I'll just start by giving a quick COVID update overnight. Pleasingly, again, we had no cases of community transmission, 5 cases in overseas travellers who are in quarantine. Good news for our community, but again, we're urging everybody to keep those testing rates high and to make sure, in particular if you lived in southwest or Western Sydney, to make sure you come forward and get tested, and also look at venues which may have been impacted in recent days. Again, the clock has started ticking for us in opening the Victorian border, and we're certainly looking forward to that day. We're all Australian citizens, will be welcome to New South Wales, and also all New Zealand citizens will be welcome to New South Wales without having to undertake any quarantine. But today I'm extremely pleased to be here with the Treasurer, the Minister for Education, and also 2 guests in Adam and Judy who are here to support the government's significant investment in education, in particular acknowledging that students have been through a really difficult time in 2020, especially those who may be disadvantaged or vulnerable or have learning difficulties. And the government will be investing over $300 million in the budget to be handed down in exactly a week from now to support students who need that extra tutoring, to support students who require that extra level of support, given many have faced a more disrupted learning environment this year than in any other year in living memory. And I want to commend both the Treasurer and the Education Minister for coming forward with this policy. We look to employing 5,500 people, similar to Adam and Judy, who are with us today. Adam has had a very strong career, including working for the Australian Defence Forces. Judy is a former principal of a high school, and both of them will be the type of people we'll be employing to provide those extra tutorial classes for students, especially those in the most vulnerable areas who need that support, to allow students to catch up on what has been an otherwise disrupted year. For us, education is the enabler. Any student who gets a good education in New South Wales can go on to do anything they hope and wish to do, and that's why it's so important for us to focus our energy, especially during this difficult time, on supporting our students, our schools and school communities. And pleasingly, this announcement isn't just for public schools, but also considers independent schools, because we know students from across the board, across the state, have really suffered because of the disruptive year. And we also hope this gives a boost to parents. So rather than parents having to fork out extra dollars if their child is running behind or has been particularly impacted, this will actually provide that pressure valve release, that pressure release from parents, where we will pick up the tab for those extra classes, those extra support. And certainly for schools and teachers as well, this is a welcome relief, because teachers and the great work they do will be aided by wonderful individuals like Judy and Adam, who've got experience in teaching, who may have left the teaching profession some time ago, but are welcome to come back now to be employed on a part-time basis to support these tutorial classes. So in effect, it will support teachers as well, because teachers won't have to spend extra time caring for students who may be falling further behind than others. So again, thank you to the Treasurer and Minister for Education. I'll ask the Minister for Education to say a few words, then the Treasurer, and then Adam and Judy will make some brief remarks before we open up to questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Premier. Good morning, everybody. Look, another day and another great budget announcement for education. I'm particularly excited about this initiative and what it will mean for our schools right across New South Wales. We know 2020 has been a disruptive school year. There's no doubt about that. We had a 7-week period where there was some form of remote learning taking place in schools right across New South Wales. And it's important now that we support our school communities to provide that extra tuition, that extra support for students who may have fallen behind during that period. Here in New South Wales, we were the only state to begin with a check-in assessment process for years 3, 5 and 9, so we could get a really good indication of how students are progressing in their learning and whether any additional support was needed. And what that data clearly showed, which was what we expected, is that for some students that period of learning from home was challenging. So this announcement is all about making sure we help those students catch up. It's a significant investment, over $330 million. Every single public school across the state, our primary schools, our secondary schools, our central schools, our schools for specific purposes, they will all receive extra tuition under this program. And also, as the Premier mentioned, our Catholic and independent schools in our lower socioeconomic communities who need that extra support will also benefit from this program. Today the call goes out to our retired teachers, our casual teachers, our final year education students and also university tutors. We want you to sign up and come and help our schools next year. The expressions of interest will open today. I'm really confident that we're going to get a large number of people wanting to be a part of this program. It's going to make such a difference to our schools here in the city, particularly in regional areas as well. I just think that this is a really important initiative and I'm very grateful to be a part of a government and very, very grateful to the Treasurer and to the Premier for us to be able to deliver this announcement and this initiative to our schools.